Hi, this is Dan Cortopassi of TSG Multimedia. Today I'm reviewing an HO scale SD45T-2 tunnel motor locomotive from Athearn. My example is decorated in the Southern Pacific Kodachrome scheme. This is the paint scheme that was to be the Southern Pacific Santa Fe merger scheme, however that merger was denied. The prototype engines were painted this way probably in 1986, and some of them lasted into the 90s on the Southern Pacific. The most recent run of this model has an MSRP of $129.98. The paint on the model is very good overall. The markings are very crisp, and all but the tiniest writing on some of the warning stickers is legible with magnification. I can see a couple of small voids in the SP on the sides where some of the red pokes through, but that's mostly in the seams between the doors, and with some weathering that would probably disappear. Also, I noticed that the yellow on the sill is not quite as opaque as the yellow on the cab. Again, if the model is weathered, that probably won't be too big of a deal. I checked out the model against prototype photos, and it seems to be a pretty good match overall for the real SP9207. I noticed that the inertial filter grills are sort of pre-weathered with some spattered black paint over the yellow area. I'm not sure how I like that effect, but again, if the engine is weathered, it probably would look fine. I really like the see-through grills on the back of the locomotive. I'm shining a flashlight through so you can really see it. You do see the gear tower for the truck, which isn't really prototypical, but overall the effect is really good. The front of the model has freestanding grab irons and some pretty good details like the SP light package. It lacks uncoupling levers, trainline air hoses, MU hoses, and some other smaller details, but those could be added by the modeler if desired. Also, the plow doesn't look quite right, so advanced modelers may want to replace that with an aftermarket part. The model is equipped with McHenry scale couplers on both ends. The coupler on the rear of the model was slightly high according to the Katy coupler height gauge. The level of detail on the rear of the model is comparable to the front, again with freestanding grab irons. One thing I like that they got right is it only has a headlight on the back, which is correct for the SD45T-2 tunnel motors. The radiator area on the rear of the model is very nicely done. I really like the fine grab iron. I also really like the fans on this model. They have the correct number of blades. The entire fan assembly is mounted closer to the fan grill, which looks more correct. Some other Athearn models that I've seen have the fans recessed too far into the body. The roof features an SP-style bell, and also with the correct horn and antenna and cab vent. I really like the fact that this model has walkway tread molded in. I remember on our weathering and detailing video when we did an SD40T-2 tunnel motor, it lacked that and I had to add that with aftermarket parts. The detail on the underside of the model is pretty basic. The side frames and some of the details on the fuel tank look pretty good. Advanced modelers again might want to add some more aftermarket detail to spruce it up a little bit. The model picks up electricity from all 12 wheels, and all 6 axles are powered. 4 of the wheel sets on this engine were narrow in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge. I did notice some shiny spots on the bottom of the model, and there was some oil on the bottom of the trucks when I first took it out of the box that I wiped off with a paper towel. I think the model may have been over-lubricated from the factory. I'm running the model on DC. Has a little bit of gear noise, especially in reverse, although in my experience, Athearns will smooth out as they're run. There's a slight hesitation at very low speeds, although a good back EMF decoder may mitigate that somewhat. The model weighs 20.4 ounces and The model weighs 20.4 ounces. I was able to register 3.1 ounces of pull on my force gauge. I'll run it so we can take a look at the lights. This model is equipped with bulbs. The headlight casting is showing some light through it, which is not so great. The red emergency light is not functional, and the number boards are not lit. Also, the gyro light is just on, it's not flashing like it should be. Overall, I like this model a lot. As the fan of the SP in its last years, I can certainly find a place for it on my layout. Athearn did a pretty good job with the paint, aside from the small problem with the sill, but I think with some weathering that won't show too bad. I am going to take off one spike for the coupler height being wrong, and I'm going to take off one spike for the wheels being out of gauge. My final verdict is 8 out of 10 spikes. If you or your company make a product that you'd like us to review, please drop us a line at reviews@tsgmultimedia.com.